Hello.
Hello. Hi, Sarah. Long time no see.
Sam, just a reminder, you probably remember Sasha's probably not going to join us.
Okay.
She's sick.
Hi, TJ. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, good evening, Mayor. Happy to be here.
Appreciate the work you and Tay have done on this grant.
Yeah, no problem.
Looks like we're still waiting for Frank and Marty. I think everybody else is here. Hi, Kathy.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello.
What's that flickering light?
It's
behind
actually
you?
a fan over a light. It looks like it's burning, doesn't it?
It does. I was concerned that you were so focused on your governmental duties that you were going to die in a horrible Holocaust, and I had to inquire whether that was the case or not.
I can turn it.
Oh, it doesn't bother. I was just
Look,
no.
fire gone.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Sam and Joe.
Hi.
Hi, Tay and Tammy.
Hi, Marty.
Looks like Frank's the only one we're waiting on. See, without Frank, do we have a quorum?
You betcha.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Before I call the meeting to order, I'd just like to talk to everybody a little bit, being Thanksgiving weekend and everything. I'd like to talk a little bit about that. Had an experience this weekend that made me think a lot about being Thanksgiving weekend and all that. We were over in Granby this weekend, and Jen spent a lot of the weekend loading scrap trailers with what's left of people's lives. The what's left after a house is burned, the metal and all that. And some of the things she was loading into the trailers really made me think about how fortunate we are that we weren't involved in the fires over there. People's, what's left of people's houses, kids' toys, kids' bicycles, snowmobiles, what's left after a house burns, literally loading what's left of people's lives into scrap trailers to be hauled off to the scrap yard. And I'd like for all of us to keep that in mind this Thanksgiving, and keep in our prayers the people that were involved in the fires over there, and the people that are affected by the coronavirus, and people that aren't going to be able to spend the holiday with their families because of the coronavirus, and people who may miss this holiday with their families and never get to see them again. People who are in rest homes or whatever that may not make it to the next Thanksgiving. Seeing what was being loaded in the scrap trailers really got to me. It affected me. We're so lucky to have what we have, and so many people lost so much of their lives in those fires. And I'd really like for all of us to to keep those people in our prayers and our thoughts this Thanksgiving. We have so much to be thankful for. There's so much craziness going on in the world right now. I'd just like for us all to keep that in mind over the holiday. So, that, like I said, that's my soapbox for today. I feel so sorry for the people that lost everything and don't have a home this Thanksgiving holiday. I wish everybody that's affected by those affected by the fires the best, and I hope they can put their lives back together. Just my thoughts for Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Sam.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Joe.
Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Hello,
Join the
Hello.
meeting.
this is Frank. I'm on my phone. I can't sign into the Zoom meeting.
All right,
On
Frank. We was just talking. I haven't called the meeting to order yet. We was just talking about the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, and I had an experience. Jen and I had an experience this weekend loading scrap trailers over in Granby with what's left of people's lives from the fires and all that. I'm just asking everybody to keep those people in their prayers and their thoughts this Thanksgiving holiday.
Will do.
All right.
And especially, did everyone see the letter from Ann Ledley?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Marty, good to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, special, thoughts, prayers, cards, to send their way.
All right. Well, now that we got that over, let's call the meeting to order at 7:09. Roll call. We got Sarah, Kathy, Marty, Chris, myself, Frank from the board. We've got guests. We've got Kent Martin and TJ, Tay, Tammy. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Sarah.
Second.
Okay. I would
Frank.
like,
Kelsey's here too, guys.
Hey, Kelsey.
okay. Hi, Kelsey. I'd like to move some things around on the agenda a little bit. I'd like to move TJ to the top of the new business and Kent to number 2 on the new business, just so they don't have to sit through the rest of it. Anybody have any other additions or anything for the agenda? There is one thing that I'd like to add to the agenda that it was my fault. I forgot to get it put on there. I know we can't take any official action on it, but I'd still like a discussion. Tay bought a recycle trailer and brought it up here, and I think we ought to purchase that from her for what she's got in it and the cost of her bringing it up here. We'll put it on the next agenda for approval, but I think we should talk about it. I'd like to add that to the agenda. Any other additions or changes? Okay,
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
all right. We have okay. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? All right, agenda is approved. Do we have any public comment? See no public comment. Let's move on to bill payment. Did everybody get a copy of the bills?
Yes,
Do I
Yeah.
hear a motion to approve?
I so move, Sarah.
Second, Chris.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Nobody opposed? Motion carries. Administrative items, COVID update. As everybody probably already knows, the county moved into the red level, which limits the number of people that can gather. The next level is the purple level, which is basically a complete shutdown. Hopefully we don't see that. It's a possibility. According to Tim Ryan, the county public health director, this will go on for at least 30 days and maybe longer or maybe shorter. If our numbers drop to an acceptable level, the county can petition the state to move us out of red. We'll see if that happens. The county got a new round of funding. There's a new round of funding for businesses, for business grants. So if any of the businesses in town are interested in applying, the applications online. We just awarded a little over $500,000 to businesses in the county. Part of the funding for the second round is anyone that applied for the first round and was approved for an amount lower than what they was requesting will be fully funded for the amount of the request. And anybody that, especially, I think the second round is mainly for restaurants, but any of the restaurants are welcome to apply. And there may be some more funding coming available after that. I ask that everybody do their best to follow the county's guidelines and do your best to protect the county or the citizens of the county from the COVID and try and limit the spread. They're asking that nobody has any big family gatherings for Thanksgiving. Keep it to the family that you live with. That's about it for the COVID update. Let's approve the minutes for the October 26th meeting. Did everybody get those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Approve the minutes from October 26th, 2020. Chris.
Okay. Second. Do we have a second?
I recused myself. I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay. Nobody wants to approve the minutes of the October 26th meeting?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Minutes of October 26th, 2020 meeting are approved. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of November 9th, 2020 meeting?
I was at that meeting, so I moved to approve the November 9th minutes, 2020.
Okay. Sarah, you want to second that?
Yes, I sure do.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Staff updates. Tammy? The floor is yours.
I have actually been working on getting switched over to remote office work and trying to stay out of there as much as possible. So have not got the personnel review quite completed, but I will have that done before the next meeting. We had several things. I think you'll go over some of them in your mayor report. We've been working on the budget and we had a sewer main break and a couple other problems, but we are getting caught up. And so I will get a written report from last meeting to you this week.
Okay,
And that's about.
all right. Tay, do you have a report for us? I guess we don't have a report from the Public Works Department. Let's move on to new business. TJ, the floor is yours.
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute my microphone. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. Sorry, TJ, give us just a minute.
I think TJ will probably have more to say. We've been collaborating on trying to get some information together for a grant. But other than that, I've moved some stuff around town to get it ready for winter. Still waiting on, I guess tonight there'll be a replacement vehicle ready to use.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything's kind of held up.
Okay, did you get things taken care of up on Mountain Street today?
Nope.
Can you take care of that in the morning?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So aside from sand, I'm not sure. I'll take care of it in the morning.
All right, thank you. Okay, TJ, now the floor is yours.
All right, Mayor, trustees, thanks so much. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys again. And as Tay kind of alluded to, this grant opportunity kind of came up pretty quick. And I think after looking at it with Tay, it looks like it's in line with the concepts that we've been talking about at a more macro scale. So this is a smaller project within that larger scope. So we wanted to bring this information to you as quick as possible because of the quick turnaround. The application, is due on December 4th. And it's quite a heavy lift financially. And hopefully maybe Tay can give a little bit more information on the scope, but in essence, it's water quality, stormwater quality and management project, capturing the stormwater that flows from the north down into town, treating it in some capacity, and then putting it back into Clear Creek, a lot cleaner than it would be otherwise. So with that would be both above ground or at grade, I guess, and below ground improvements, curb gutter, some treatment. There may even be some great opportunity for landscaping if it could be built into some water quality stuff. We haven't really gotten that far yet into the specific scope, but again, kind of the magnitude of what we're looking at, I believe it's consistent with a proposal that was given a couple of years ago, or maybe last year. That's about $350,000 total project. And this grant does require a minimum of 10% match. So in my memo, I put what those dollar amounts are, and you can see that it's the 10 to 20% is only 5 points. So just looking at the competitive nature of it, I think you're pretty competitive on the other evaluation elements and criteria, but the match, if we can go higher on that, that would be great. And kind of in lieu of this one, Mayor, you might remember you sent me a grant a while ago revitalizing main streets. It's a CDOT grant that may or may not, I don't know that it by itself would do much, and I'm just starting to dive into that now, but it might be a good opportunity to try to provide a match for this. It's a little bit smaller. I need to call and see if there's still, it's a rolling scale on that one. So I need to see how much money, if any, is available through that. But again, the big thing that we're here for is this scope and this project in line with what we're trying to do on the bigger scale? And is it worth kind of pushing this one through to try to get some money? I think I'd leave it at that for the time being, unless anyone has questions.
I do have a question. I'm sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, just a point of clarification. So TJ, on the first grant that you and Tay have been working on, which one Tay's been giving us updates along the way and sending out selected questions. And I really appreciate the effort that I just want to add my voice to Sam's, appreciate the effort that you guys have been doing, undergoing. So to be clear, timing is perfect. We're just working on the budget. At a minimum, the town would want to have $35,000 in kind to be able to contribute towards match of the 350,000. Is that right?
Tay, do you have a better number for the overall scope?
It depends on it depends on what we're gonna take out and focus on. The 350,000 is close if we're trying to cover more of the town's project interests. And if we narrow the scope to just the stormwater stuff where we won't kind of be able to roll in our other stuff, yes, we could take it down to, probably closer to the 200, 250 number. So we could be flexible with it. I guess just it would be good to know maybe I'm wrong in this. It would be good to know a maximum of what the town would be able to match, and we could probably write it to fit that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sure does. No, that makes sense. Thanks.
Did that help, TJ?
Yes. Yep. And just to clarify, I think what we're looking for tonight is that max, and then we can go from there. Because we can start writing it based on that dollar amount.
Yeah, and a related question, and this goes to our budget update. We have a solid budget, but we are in a position where we need to cut back. And so, I think, but we have maybe some flexibility about where we cut back and what we emphasize. And I guess my question related to that is, can we have a little bit more time as a budget committee to mess around with our numbers so that we can give you a more accurate figure? Obviously you will learn, you guys, as a budget committee, we need to get our proverbial stuff together long before the next board meeting, but we do have a little bit of time to discuss. So could we have, part of this week to get closer to knowing how to advise?
Let me just look at the deadlines. So the application deadline is December 4th. And then
next Friday.
Yeah, and so we have the one document out that's out to the accountant, but I don't know how much else we need to fill in. So yeah, that's a better question for TJ, because December 4th seems tight to me. And I like, that's just the deadline from them. So I don't know what you.
Yeah.
If we could come up with a solid number for you by a week from today, would that work? If we had a special board meeting a week from today to approve what the budget committee comes up with between now and then?
I think that that's okay. I think that that's fine. I guess what we really want tonight is two things. One, is this worth going after? And so far, I'm not seeing or hearing anything contrary to that. And two, what's that comfort level? It's completely up to you guys on how you want to do that. You could, as a board, if there was a comfortable level of 35,000 or 20,000, go ahead and make the motion to, allow us, staff and myself, to move forward with drafting this with a match not to exceed that, to be reevaluated in a tighter number provided next week. At least that way, if things do get a little dicey, given the quickness, we have something to work with and has a little bit of validity if we have to talk to the board, the administrators, and says, yep, the board has agreed to this. The reason I'm saying that is I feel like this is going to be a really competitive grant. It came out quick. I think it's the criteria and the evaluation numbers are pretty substantial. The difference in them. So I feel like there's going to be some real competitive applications, and I want to make sure that we're as competitive in that as possible. So, sorry, Mayor, the short answer to that is yes. I think if we had the final number next week, that would be fine.
Okay.
We want to make sure we're moving forward with something this week to make sure that we're not missing any deadlines.
I would like the time being on the budget committee. I think that we can get a more solid number of what we want to go after and what we can afford to go matching wise, because I don't want to say, hey, I'd like to say we have $35,000, but at this point in time, I don't know if we have that answer.
Yeah, and I think another thing that I could do in the meantime is look into this other grant and see, maybe even give DOLA a call and see if maybe one of those rolling grants can be used for it.
Okay.
Any way to match, cut down that match. I did hear back from the questions that we posed that essentially all other funding is available to match this, so that's good. So I'll look into those two other items and see if there's a way to reduce that match, and then of course that ratchets the whole thing up a little bit more.
Excuse me.
Another. I don't necessarily want to get into the weeds on this, but I do want to pose it to you guys while you're thinking about this, that just understanding briefly your budget constraints and the other stuff that we've been working on of a competitive CDBG grant and the things that go along with that. I don't know if we want to, because the reason I say it that way is that larger CDBG grant could cover this project. So it's a timing and a dollar amount thing. So, right, a project timing and a cash flow issue. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity right now, but if this is something that could maybe hold off, it could be rolled into a much larger project the end of 2021.
Can I interrupt you for just a second?
Sure.
Sarah, can you take over for me for a minute? I need to excuse myself for just a minute.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Continue, TJ.
That was essentially all. I just want to make sure that this is a great opportunity, and we certainly want it, and it's a much needed project. It gets you a lot of bang for your buck, but I don't want to. I understand that especially at budget time right now, 35,000 ask is that whole matching pot for next year as well, kicking everything else to the following year.
Yeah, so to be explicit for us, TJ, because I'm not sure I understand how to embrace that additional piece of information.
Yeah.
Does that mean that we shouldn't consider this as seriously, or what does that mean for us as a board?
Well, I think it comes down to planning versus doing. And I think that this grant everything that I've been hearing is that the major issue is runoff, and streets are the improvements that we've been talking about are related to improving the water quality essentially. So I think that this is a great opportunity. The CBDG grants are still there and going to be there in the future. This is a one-time thing that well, maybe it's not a one-time thing, but it's here now, and who knows what's going to be there. What I've seen in the past is that the last year with COVID, grant funds have just dwindled and purse strings have gotten tight. So I think that this is going to be a good opportunity. But like I said, I think this is also a competitive grant.
Yep. So if we don't meet the mark and don't get the grant, we still have other potential opportunities. But
That's probably that's a really good way to think about it. You go after this one and you miss it, you have a second shot.
Okie dokie. Good. So I want to open it up to board members to ask TJ and Tay any questions you might have. And also give us a sense of whether you think we should try to go for it as a board. I mean, as TJ indicated, we haven't said no yet, but give us a sense as you comment on whether you think we should further assess and try to go for it if we can, if we've got the budget for it.
If we have the budget for it, I think it might not be a bad idea to pursue it. Like TJ said, grants are definitely getting smaller and smaller and going away very quickly. So, but as that being said, I want to see what we're looking like at a budget at this point in time, to where if we don't have those funds available, you know, at least we can go after something else when it comes up. But I would like to go after it if we have the means to go after it.
Sure. Marty, you go ahead. Marty, you're muted.
Don't laugh.
Marty, you might have to take your picture off because you're not coming through. Kathy, do you have any thoughts on this while we wait for Marty to come through?
I agree with Chris. If we have the funds, it would be nice to, clean out Main Street downtown and the water flowing off of, or where that little thing is coming off the 730 trail and everything. And then of course, make sure that what's going on around your house and everything is taken care of. And so I have a tendency to jump right into the weeds. So by the 4th, do we have to have in that application plans as to what we're using it for, or is the application simpler than that?
Good question. TJ, can you or Tay answer that?
Sure, I'll take a quick stab at it. And I haven't seen it yet, but I do know that Tay mentioned that you've already received a proposal for this project, or at least a little bit of an expanded scope. So it's already a little bit further along, which is great. The application does not need to have construction documents. The grant can be for planning and design and construction and kind of the whole kit and caboodle. So this is a great opportunity given where you are in that process as well.
Okay, good. And real quick, somebody has their microphone on and there's talking in the background. Could you please mute yourselves because it's distracting? Tay, it looks like you want to add in there, do you?
I was just going to say that the scope of the offering of the grant was already narrowed down. So what ends up becoming the project is pretty explicitly laid out in the grant ask.
Okie dokie. And Kathy, does that answer enough of your question? And folks, are we going to have a chance to take a look at that if somebody's so oriented? Like if Kathy wanted to see the detail, could she do without slowing you down?
Well, I don't think they necessarily need that, as long as TJ and Tay, if it looks like the specifics of the grant would cover, enough of what we want to get done. That sounds like a super good idea to me.
Cool. Marty, are you there?
Yes, I is.
Oh, we can hear you. Great.
Yeah, I turned off my face. It's a lot to handle all at once, being technologically challenged with all these little damn arrows and.
Yep. Dive in.
Oh, I see no reason to take the next step or not. I just don't really see a downside as long as it's in the constraints of our budget, which is in the capable hands of our devoted and competent budget committee, who has my thanks for doing this. That's what I think.
Super, Marty. Thanks. Frank, how about you?
I'm kind of thinking the same way. It sounds like a chance to get a project done. If we've got the grant money, that, you know, if we can come up with the match, that's and just to review, what was the due date for this?
The 4th of December.
So that's the week after next. Who's going to be writing the grant and who's going to be putting the stuff? I mean, that's a very short time frame to get a major grant together. If we get the capability to do that, that being prepare the grant submission?
Good question, Frank. I think Tay and TJ have already been working on it. Tay, TJ, do you? I think TJ already assessed that we could have a little bit more time, Frank, to check the budget, but until the beginning of next week, say. But Tay or TJ, do you want to more explicitly answer Frank's concern?
The application for this grant isn't as intense as some of the other ones that are out there, especially some of the more revolving ones. So it's kind of all set up. We just need to fill in certain information and then also have that information. And we're kind of filling those holes, and that's what the ask was for tonight. And then fill in the stages of what, if I read correctly, the different stages of development and what those funds would apply to. And that's where that previous proposal comes into play, where we cannot implement all of it. What they're asking, we can implement some of it. So it's already it's mostly done. We just need to fill in a couple of blanks.
Would everybody be available for a special meeting a week from tonight, say 6 o'clock, TJ, you included?
Good by me.
Yes, I should be good for that.
Sarah's good for that.
Okay, let's go ahead and schedule a special meeting a week from tonight to discuss this, and by that time the budget committee should have it figured out if we can dig up the money somewhere, and we'll give you a solid answer then. Will that work, TJ?
Yeah, I think that would be great. And between now and then, I will try to get solid answers on match potentials with DOLA's planning grant and this other CDOT grant, and see if they're available.
Okay.
For match as well.
And we as a budget committee will do our best to come up with the money.
Yeah, 20 to 35,000 is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, TJ, I have another question for you while we've got you on the line. I know through my work with the county and everything, I know there's grants available out there through the CARES program, and the states just released quite a bit of money that they had in reserve. Are you up to date on what's available? Is there anything out there that could benefit Silver Plume?
Everything that I'm aware of right now is business retention and restaurants. Potentially, I'm not sure how your business community has been affected. Obviously, it has been, but what might be beneficial to the business community in Silver Plume? I don't know if that helped at all or provided any kind of insight.
I guess my question is, are you keeping up on that, and you'll let us know if anything comes available?
Yes, I'm keeping up on that stuff, and I will do that.
All right, I appreciate it. Okay, any more questions for TJ? Shall we move on to the next item?
All right,
Okay.
thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you very
TJ.
much.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thanks, TJ.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Okay. Kent Martin,
Hey, everyone.
the copy or the plans that you sent me, the address on them were wrong.
Oh, yeah, we needed a mailing address at the time because we had those done in the spring. Yeah, it should be 540, but it says 625 on it.
Okay.
Yep. That's
All
just
right.
clerical. Yep.
Okay, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, and so we're working. Maybe we may on getting that foundation wrapped up, but weather's against us right now. But we do want to get the building wrapped up, the structural portion of it, the steel part, and we'd like to get that fabricated and shipped to the site before anything else, more snow falls. So the plans for the finishing are obviously lacking in some detail, but the foundation and the steel structural are complete, and they're up to 2015 standards. 6 months ago when we had them completed, the town was still in 1990 building code. So I just wanted to see, just like we did with the foundation, so I can put it to rest, get that building, the steel structural part permitted, just so I can get it delivered onto the site, just like we did with the foundation. And
Right,
then
Chris.
we'll
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and then we'll approach the so that would just be the steel frame and roof, and then we'll wrap up we'll update all the finish after that. Treat it as like a tenant finish kind of permit here on out when we get to the siding. So we just want to get the bones permitted so that we can get more details on the interior.
Or are
Okay.
you just putting up the steel beams themselves, or are you hanging tin on them in the meantime as well too?
No, it just so I can confirm that I can get the building fabricated, delivered to the site. It won't be a finished job. The exterior and the interior finish, which is kind of independent of the rest of the foundation and the steel frame.
Okay.
We'll get that permitted separately.
So you're not going to put anything on the side of the building this
No.
go around. All you're going to do is put beams up.
I would get the beams delivered to the site. Get it fabricated. It's 2015 IBC. That my fear is I know you guys are batting around the 2018 IBC, and if I have a fabricated building that doesn't meet your code, I can't send it back to get it. Although I doubt there's major changes to that code as it pertains to steel structure. But it's not anything visual, not the exterior, and not the tenant, not the finish, the commercial or the upstairs apartment finish. Strictly the structural components, just like we did with the doing a separate foundation permit.
Yeah, that's all I was wondering. I just wanted to make sure that it was just going to be steel beams put up for now, or if you're going to put tin on that steel beams as well, if you're going to have walls put up under this permit. That's all I was wondering. You just want
I
to have
gotcha.
it to have the beams delivered to your site and maybe put the beams and the roof up and no sides at this point? Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. No tenant finish, no habit. Yeah.
So
No
no tin on the
occupation.
sides of it or nothing like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
that's all I was wondering because
Mhm.
I didn't want to, not to sound rude or anything. I just didn't want to have a steel building get put up and then tin on the side and then hey, we'll get to the siding part of this later on in life, like we're gonna do that. And that's all that was. So that's I mean,
Gotcha.
as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen the plans yet. I was just looking through to see if I missed an email. I'd like to see the plans, but I don't see a problem with letting you guys go ahead and do that because then you're just getting everything ordered up and the beams put up. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. But I haven't seen those plans yet either. So I would like to see them before I say 100%, hey, let's go for it. But I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if it's just the beams and the roof.
He did send me a copy of the plans. And to be honest with you, I don't know enough about the building code to be able to judge whether they're right or not. Kent, could you?
If he's not going to hang tin up on the side of the building and all he's going to do is put a roof and beams up, we're probably okay to grant that application.
Okay. Any
I
other
would like to run it by Mr. Caldwell, I guess, before I say 100%, but I would think it's probably all right.
Kent, would it put you in a bind if we tabled this for one meeting and checked with Rick and Kelly just to make sure?
And what
Sure,
about
could I-
what about 1 week too? Because we could fit it in on our special meeting as well.
Yeah, I'll jump in
Little
quickly
less
on that.
time. Yeah. So next
would
Monday.
that put you in a bind?
No, that wouldn't put me in a bind. So I like that. I'm fine with that. The plans haven't changed at all as far as the steel goes.
Okay.
They're the same ones we submitted back in the summer. So there's a hard copy with the town clerk, and I can email those. Make sure everyone's got a copy, or Sam or the clerk could email out the steel structural plans. They're pretty boring.
I just looked at it. I've got them. So I mean, as long as Rick's okay with it, I think it's just fine. So I'd just like to check by Rick and check by Kelly and what's happening to our special meeting agenda on Monday, and we'll just give them a yay or nay there.
Yeah. And Chris, I just sent to you, Rick and Kelly.
Okay. All right, so let's table this till the meeting next Monday and we'll do some checking on it between now and then and see what we can do.
I appreciate your flexibility.
Thanks for working with us, Ken. I appreciate it.
Hey, Marty, Sam, Marty's got his finger up.
Okay, Marty.
Not an inappropriate finger.
Good.
Just one question. What is the delivery time on the steel?
Mid-December.
So basically a month delivery time from time of you placing the order?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, a couple weeks. Yep.
Okay, that brings up certain issues, but if it's been tabled, I'll wait till the next meeting.
Okay.
Do you want it? Okay.
But Marty, what kind of issues should Kent be aware of them now?
Okay, the approval committee, the building code committee is fairly close, I assume, to making a recommendation. Chris, am I correct?
Actually, we put that on the back burner until we got the budget done. But I would assume we're getting closer and closer. But it's right now until the budget's done, that's on our plate. There's only so much of us, and so much we can do.
Oh, no, I was
It'll be
just
done before the beginning of the year is my anticipation, but until the budget's done, we haven't been messing with the building code at all.
Well, I want to have a realistic, all I was looking for is a realistic time frame. I know you guys have utmost faith in your utilizing the temporal resource in the most efficacious manner possible, buddy.
Hey, man. I would say before the beginning of the year is my hope that we're going to have that building code.
Okay. I just don't see a necessity because as far, I don't know what'll happen. That's why I'm saying my concerns are, we have granted a, something based upon existing, what we're using now, building codes. And while you are in the 90th percentile of being correct, in that there most likely will be no significant changes, my feeling is that there would be, just precipitous and perhaps, I'm not irresponsible, but I don't see, even that 10% chance, say, of something significant being changed and having already permitted something on a different, an archaic, a vestigial, building code. That's all. It creates vulnerability, I feel.
I understand
Oh.
where you're coming from. And when me and Sam and Kent all met up over at the site and talk about the 2018 building code, they kind of gave us our handshake promise that they're going to build this to the 2018 building code. So we wouldn't have that issue when we were moving forward. That being said, I don't know how much pull we have to shove the 2018 building code onto this project. This project was started under our building code right now, but we have not been able to finish the 2018 code and to adopt it halfway through the project and say, hey, that's what you're going to follow and that's what you're going to do. And, change everything up is probably not the way the town's going to be looking at doing the project. So
Yeah, and you guys, to me, it's like, I don't know enough about the building codes, but to me, it's all about safety. We know that Kent's going to work with us in terms of, the external rightness and fittedness to the community. But I guess if our gut feel is there's not going to be a safety issue in a difference between the 2015 and the 2018, I guess I'd hate to, Chris, do what you just said, which is, these guys started this whole thing before we have made any decisions, and I'd hate to throw another wrench in. That's without knowing anything. That's kind of my hesitance about throwing something further in Kent's way.
And I would agree with you. On the building code subject, the exterior, there's not a big difference in that sense. The biggest sense that the building codes have the differences in them right now is the fire suppression and the safety. The 2018 code just gives us a little bit more a little bit more tightness to make sure that we get these commercial properties with the right fire suppression systems in them and a little bit more detailed stuff than what we're used to. It's not going to affect the exterior. It's not going to affect the steel grade, the material that the steel is made out of, in that sense either. It's going to be more or less the finishing of the fire suppression and the materials that are used in the building and that kind of thing. And like I said, me and Kent and Sam all met up and they said that they were going to basically design and build this building off of a 2018 building.
Yep.
Boy, that's my hope. And we'll continue doing what we can do and working out the best we can with them. And, they're dealing with us too on a little bit of leeway too. We should be able to answer these questions right off the bat. And they're giving us a week or so to talk to our lawyers and figure it out, talk to Rick and see where we're going with this stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so Kent, we'll see you next Monday, a week from tonight, and
Okay.
we'll have an answer for you.
All right. Thanks for bumping me up, and have a good night, everyone.
Yeah,
You
you
as well,
too.
Kent.
Have a good
All right.
holiday.
Stay safe, everyone.
All
Bye.
right, you too.
Bye.
All right, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Okay, next thing on the agenda, Sarah, I'll turn this one over to you. Introduction and public hearing for the proposed 2021 budget.
Okay. I will happily start us off, Sam, and then Sam and Chris, who are also Budget Committee associates, will join in at any time. And just, sorry, Sasha's ill, so she's the other member of the Budget Committee, who we will be bringing up to speed on the latest changes as well. Since we haven't really talked to everybody about our efforts as a budget committee I thought it would be helpful to just give you a broad brush. We have, as a committee, met, as you know, more than several times to work on the 2021 budget. We have been working closely with Tammy, as usual, who has she's born with a collection of questions of forgetfulness and ignorance, and helped us along the way with critical information. We continue to have a couple few remaining questions, but the budget that we presented to Tammy as the public version of the budget today, we think is pretty solid. And we've been back and forth among ourselves about sort of assessing, of course, the 2020 estimated budget, where that seems to be falling out, and lessons learned from that to inform what we have identified as the 2020 estimations for the line items for each of the critical expenditures and what's the term for the things that we get in terms of money. But I think we feel confident about most of the numbers, and relative to the earlier discussion, we have some flexibility in terms of what we've estimated for line items. And I think as a committee, based on the clarity that we've received tonight from Tay and TJ on an additional budget consideration of in-kind match or match, not in-kind match. I think we can look freshly at the line items where we might have flexibility and determine what, if any, additional funds we would have to put towards a match, which we hope we can do. I guess I would say the current budget that we have laid out suggests that we're about 40,000 and change over a break-even budget. So we do have challenges in assessing our line items and making room for a potential match for a grant. So what we wanted to suggest as a budget committee was essentially, we've submitted what we have. We think the numbers are solid. We know that we need to continue to look carefully at our estimates for 2021, and of course get back to a break-even budget, and we would intend to do that by early this coming week. We have done a lot of good solicitation for input to different line items. We have, for instance, communicated with our previous mayor, Lee Baranato, who was the budget lead, on some aspects in particular of the statutory property tax revenue limitations, and are in the process of revisiting the calculations for that particular line item. And we will be talking with our county representative who Lee used to communicate with, or his replacement, on the estimate that we will develop. Again, that's going to happen in the next days, so that we will be able to put a finer point on the budget, the final budget, days certainly before the next meeting. And so we will circulate that updated budget to you folks, so you'll be able to take a careful look at it. And in addition to whatever questions you might have for us tonight, have additional questions for us at the next meeting to finalize the budget. And I forget, Tammy, did we circulate the budget to folks so that they are actually able to look at it or not?
Did you get I think we got one out on Friday. And then you sent another one today, but I did not get it. I didn't get the second one.
Okay.
So the first one should have gone out.
Did folks take a look at that? And do you have any specific questions for us? I don't
I don't
remember
remember
sending.
receiving anything on the budget on Friday.
Yeah, I don't know if we sent it out. Tammy, it might have been just to the committee.
Yeah,
Oh
I-
goodness, you're right. I
Yeah,
may
I-
have. There's been so many. I will send it out as soon as we are done with the meeting though. The second version.
Yeah, and Tammy, I'm wondering, hang on one sec. I can forward what we just sent out to folks, of course. Because it's hard for people to kind of know how to respond without having something to look at.
I think the one I printed was the first one you sent. I don't believe I got the second one.
Yeah.
We talked
yeah,
about it, but I didn't receive it.
Right, right. Yeah. Chris and Sam, feel free to dive in here while I send out the budget.
I'd just like to suggest that Sarah, you and I get together sometime early Wednesday and figure out what we need to talk to Brent Worthington about, and we'll get a hold of him Wednesday, and we should schedule another budget committee meeting for Wednesday evening if everybody's available. Chris, would you be available Wednesday evening, say 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I should be.
Okay. What do you think of that, Sarah?
I think that's totally fine, Sam. And I guess I feel badly. I don't know what our board associates here are supposed to be trying to comment on when they don't have a budget to look at. But to me, that plan sounds good. I just feel bad about people not having anything to look at. So
If you can get that sent out to them, we'll schedule a meeting. It'll be on the town Zoom at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. If anybody from the board that's not on the committee has comments, you can join us at that budget committee meeting on Wednesday. Kathy, I'd really appreciate any comments or whatever you'd have on it if you'd like to join us on Wednesday.
So is it the same Zoom number and everything as this one?
Yes.
And is that 6 or 7 o'clock on Wednesday?
I think 6 o'clock, unless Chris or Sarah have a problem with 6.
6 is fine.
6 on Wednesday, correct?
Right.
Wednesday,
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Thanksgiving Eve.
And Sarah, could you make sure that Sasha knows about that?
Yes.
She's feeling up to it at that point.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna be a tough one the night before Thanksgiving for them, I'm sure, but
I'm sure it will, but we'll get through it as quick as we can, but I really feel like we need to meet and get this more finalized.
yeah,
I would agree.
yeah. Yeah, you guys, I'm sending it out to you just now, but that sounds like a good plan.
And we can all sit here and watch Jen preparing to cook her first turkey dinner in a wood burning cook stove.
Ooh,
She can do it.
The turkey would probably be pretty forgiving. It's maintaining the temperature. And I know that my little baby stove, it's not wood, but it's maintaining this temperature is special.
Right.
Probably pretty forgiving. She probably shouldn't try a cake dish yet. That brownies, I boiled them up to 450 degrees.
I've been teasing her ever since we moved in here about cooking her turkey dinner in a wood burning stove.
Oh, it's fun.
Well, alrighty. Okay, I don't have anything further, you guys, sorry.
I'm good as
Okay.
well.
Tammy, do we need to take any action on this, or what do we need to do?
I will post another meeting notice for you in the morning. And you just need to make sure everybody gets the information.
Okay. All right, let's move on to intergovernmental agreement, the Methodist Church conservation easement. Tammy, can you take that one?
Well, that one is, I guess Sasha and Sarah met with Cindy Naskey about the church. It's quite an involved agreement. So I looked at it and I was going to scan it and send it to you, but I opted to not do that because Sasha wasn't going to be here. So it needs to be just a ratification of Miss Sarah's signature. And I can go ahead and scan it and email it to you all before the next meeting, if you'd like to table it.
Okay, so let's table that to the next meeting.
And real quick, Tammy and Sam, for others, when we met with Cindy and Cindy, the emphasis was on continuity. And so while I haven't read the details, Sasha has, I'm sure, we shouldn't anticipate much of a difference. It's just a different organization is taking over the responsibility that HDI used to have. And there's an assurance that there shouldn't be much different in the way of how we're managed. I think the new Cindy is very interested in having just a fluid, open relationship with the town and likely through Peeps. But anyway, she was very, to me, comforting and assuring that it's an organizational transfer, but the continuity of how we've been managed thus far should be maintained. So for what that's worth.
Explanation.
Okay, let's move on to the next item, the status of the town equipment and update on snow removal equipment. Basically, all of our town equipment needs some major work done on it. I put out a call for help to the other towns in the county, and a few others asking if someone had a snowplow truck with a sander in it that we could rent while our equipment's being repaired. The only response that I got back was from the Georgetown Loop Railroad. Mark Grable has agreed to lease us Dodge 1-ton dually truck with a snowplow and a brand new sander in the back of it. Basically, the only thing he's asking is that after the, if we have a big snowstorm at the end of, after we get done clearing the town streets, if we would take it down to Georgetown and clear the parking lot of the railroad's office and put a little sand down. I don't think that's too much to ask for the use of their truck. He also asked that we put it on the town's insurance, so town employees are covered on the insurance. I think that this is a good deal for the interim while we're getting our equipment repaired. If everybody agrees, I'll ask Joe to write up a lease agreement between us and the railroad. So it's all on paper. It'll basically make us responsible for any damage or repairs that need to be done to the truck and all that. I think we ought to do that so we have a viable plow truck. Then I think we need to put out for bids the repairs that need to be done to the town's equipment. I think we ought to get at least 3 bids from local businesses to complete the repairs on our trucks, on our equipment. I also think we need to, well, I'll let Sarah speak on this. She's got a better handle on getting the town streets cleared out to where we can plow, as far as parking and vehicles on the road. So go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, just quickly, and this is honestly, Sam, picking up on stuff that Sasha has brought up before, but picking up on maybe this is a great time to remind people of what the fire lanes are and also enlist their help in being flexible when the town needs to plow, to move their vehicles periodically so that we can safely plow and effectively plow. So I definitely kind of want to pick up on this with Sasha and Tay, because both of them have talked about this before, but I'm wondering if it wouldn't be timely to put out a letter with a diagram of where the fire lanes are to folks at the start of the snow season or slightly after the start of the snow season, and just maybe have 1 or 2 or 3 points to remind people of about the realities of snow plowing. And some of the direct implications might be that we need to work one-on-one with individuals who might have unregistered cars parked where maybe they could be parked on private property instead of on the roadside, or dumpsters that might be further into the public way. Maybe they're relocated either less in the public way or onto private property and still accessible by our friends down the end of town, but it might require some personal visits and reminders to folks who have maybe chronically been offenders. But anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up as something that I, as a board member, would like to support getting done quickly. And I do think we know what the fire lanes are, and I'm hoping that it would be fairly straightforward to do a fairly simple diagram for folks that we could both post at the town hall and the post office, but also I think it's worth the money to write a seasonal letter with an attachment to inform folks, and that will provide us with kind of the framework and the baseline to follow up with individuals who might need help thinking through where else they might locate a car or a dumpster or something like that. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Okay, Chris, I have a question for you. You and I have talked before about what it would take for you to be able to tow vehicles for the town.
Mhm.
And you said that the town needed to take some action to make that legal.
Yeah, we can get together and go through it. I got the regs in my shop. There's an ordinance that the town needs to pass. No big deal, but we can talk about it and figure out what we want to do on that.
I think we should do that to where if there are cars parked in a place where we need to plow, that we should be able to move those cars if the owners aren't willing.
Mhm.
So let's, you and I get together and talk about that and put something together for the next meeting.
All right, sounds good.
All right. What's the thoughts on this truck from the railroad? Should we go ahead and enter into an agreement with the railroad to do that? Marty, I think you had your finger up first.
Okay. Okay, I just had one thought on the parking thing. I know a few meetings ago, we discussed with Tay, if you're still there, please, chime in, about the possibility of creating alternative parking in a snow crisis. Say, just west of your house, Sarah, if that would be all right with you. And I don't know who owns the property on the other side of the road, but it might be worthwhile to do a little work on that, those two areas, to provide citizens who want to make it easier to plow, but don't have a good alternative, give them an option.
I don't know if that's the issue that I think is being spoken to. It's not the cars in an emergency when we have, some kind of sudden 3-foot downpour, which last year when that happened, people did get out and move their cars because those are the responsible people. It's the cars that have sat there and people have been reminded on numerous occasions that they need to move and they don't move them. So at this point, we're just at the point where giving those people a place to park somewhere else on the street is just going to be them probably storing their vehicle now, not in front of their house or what have you.
Well, I wasn't talking, like I say, it was discussed in one of the meetings, I forget which one, it was a few meetings ago, about the possibility of creating, and maybe I should have been clearer, and for that you have my most abject apologies, creating an alternative parking for them. Say, the people on Woodard Street, that's really is significantly congested and plowing is very difficult. It also wouldn't be to utilize the archaic format of a phone tree, which has exhibited some efficacy of accomplishing that which we gave it the responsibility to do, to say, hey, they predict really big ass snowstorm 2 days from now. Could you think about keeping an eye on it and moving it to this location, which the town has lovingly presented to you to make it easier to act with a full conscience and provide that which is needed. I wasn't talking about, sure, if there's a sudden snowstorm, there is a limit, but I think there should be a process in place and resources made available to those citizens of the town who have a responsibility to others and actually to you and everyone's well-being, but are kind of up against it. We should make it as easy as possible.
That makes sense. I must have understood that's what we were addressing in this moment.
Okay.
Okay, Chris, you had your finger up?
On discussion about that truck from the railroad, I think it's a great thing that we've got backup plans and thinking about all that kind of stuff. It does make me nervous to put somebody else's truck under our insurance, but that's just because that's the nervousness inside of me, I guess. I don't know. I don't like that so much. I do want to I just like to remind you of what we got going on. If we were to get into a pinch, we still have Stormy that'd be able to go out and go plow for us, who we used last year a couple times, and he's still doing our water treatment plant right now. So maybe that's something we might want to look at versus borrowing somebody's truck. At least when we're paying Stormy, he's got his own insurance, and if his truck breaks, he fixes it and he pays for it. Just want to throw that out there. That's all. We have, I get a little nerve wracking. I understand it's the railroad. I understand they're our neighbors and everything else. I just get a little nerve wracking with borrowing somebody's truck and plowing somebody's parking lot for them as well.
One quick comment, and then I'll get to you, Sarah. the main thing that I was looking for in trying to find a backup truck is sanding capabilities.
Mhm.
I don't believe Stormy has that capability, and we have some streets that definitely need that.
Mhm.
So that was my thoughts in
I
looking
do agree with that.
for a truck that we could rent or lease in the interim until we can get ours repaired and back serviceable.
I agree. I understand that.
Okay, Sarah? You're
Yeah,
muted.
thank you. No, I did want to follow up on the exchange between Marty and Tay. I was explicitly talking about what Tay is talking about. So, for instance, you know, there's a certain black car that has been parked across or nearby the town hall. I don't know if it's registered, but it's been parked there for quite some time. And cars like that, for example, are what I was talking about. And I have no interest in relocating that black car when that black car might have a location on the property across the street where it could be parked, then rather than on the road, to be explicit. And then I do realize that there might be a dumpster that's farther out in the street than it should be, that's more of an obstruction than it needs to be, that is personally rented, that potentially could be relocated and still be quite accessible to the folks who use it, as well as the service providers. So to put a fine point on it, that's what I was talking about. I was not talking, Marty, about what you're talking about, which I think is also a good idea. Anyway, that was it.
Well, okie dokie then. They're not, obviously, they're both positive, if I may be so bold, but I think that's great. They're both, they may be different, but they're both neat, significant, and lovely ideas.
Yeah, yeah. And on Chris, on your concern, which I do appreciate, part of the concern from the town standpoint is we have an employee that is paid for doing this work. And part of what we're trying to do is provide safe equipment for that person to do this work, not contract with somebody else to do this work. Again, just to be straightforward.
Okay, so we have a couple of issues here that we need to make a decision on. First of all, I'd like a volunteer to write the letter to be sent out to the town folk.
Sarah'd be happy to do that, and I'd work with Tay and Sasha on it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
Unless somebody else wants to do it.
you. I guess you're volunteered, Sarah. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item is I'd like to have somebody entertain a motion to allow me to enter into an agreement with the Historic Rail Adventures to lease this truck or rent this truck until we can get our vehicles up to snuff.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, I will contact Joe tomorrow and have her write up an agreement between us and Historic Rail Adventures, and we'll get that in place. The next thing is I'd like a motion to put out to bid getting our vehicles repaired and back into shape. Do we need to make a motion for that, or do we just need to do it? Okay,
I think we should need to do it.
Okay, I will
Okay.
contact some local businesses and get some bids, and we'll have that on the agenda for the next meeting. I still have
Someone need a
the,
motion?
I still have the list from the inspections that we had done on them earlier in the year. And I'll send those lists out and get some bids. All right, the next thing on the agenda is something that we really can't take action on, but I just want to put it out there for everybody to consider, and we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting if Tammy will make sure that gets done. The recycle trailer that Tay picked up, it's in real good shape. It's sitting down on the corner right across from my house. Everybody can go by and take a look at it. I would like to see the town purchase that from Tay and put it out for people to use to recycle, since Timberline isn't doing any recycling right now, although they like to make you think they are.
Hey, Sam,
Yeah, go ahead.
what are you looking like for a dollar amount on that thing?
Tay, what's your price on the recycle trailer?
So I sent you the price with the mileage and the actual cost of the procurement, and then the labor cost to drive it back. And it's in the recycle program pamphlet. So the cost of the equipment was $35.64, and it was $780 to drive it back.
So what's the total figure for us to purchase that from you?
You're purchasing it from me as a whole like that?
Yeah, just
Okay, hold on. That's 4,344.
okay.
Thank you.
And Sam, just for broader context, Tay, can you provide us with, just a rough, you did a bunch of research on this equipment, and can you just give the board a sense of, one, how old it is, how used, and two, what a new piece of equipment like this would cost, so that folks have a, relative idea?
Yeah, so I've been looking around for the last couple of years to pick up one. The lowest I've ever seen, and it's still for sale in Virginia, is $5,500. This is a 2009 14-foot Pro-Tainer. And Pro-Tainer is a really great brand, and all of the bells and whistles were still in really good shape on the whole trailer. New, these go for about $19,000 to $23,000. And as we don't have a means to recycle in Silver Plume, Idaho Springs will take the stuff that we bring because we're part of Clear Creek County. Yeah, so we just have to decide what goes in it.
Thanks.
Okay, so between now and the next meeting, you get a chance, stop down here and take a look at it. Do your own research, and we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting and go from there. Does that sound acceptable to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Believe we've reached the end of the agenda. Does anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I had a
Right.
question. Sasha feeling okay, or was she just busy, or what, for the meeting tonight?
Marty, she just said she was sick. I don't know anything
Okay.
further.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that, so I just was concerned about her well-being, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
And Sam, the only thing I'd like to say is that, Tay, I do appreciate on behalf of the town, the research you did on that piece of equipment and you putting yourself out and finding it and driving it back. And I've talked with at least a few people around town and know that there's support and interest. And I know you did some of that yourself, but I just wanted to do a shout out on that, and also about the work that you've been doing on the potential grant that we might go after. Much appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep, me too.
Okay, before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving and ask, like I said at the beginning of the meeting, that everybody keep the victims of the fires in your prayers and victims of COVID. So everybody enjoy your Thanksgiving and all that. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn and let me know how the turkey comes out.
I will.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks, Sam.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Have a good night.